reports,
Yeah.
Subhash.
Okay.
Subhash, as we discussed, so report actually the purpose of the report is only okay to extract the data for the product related tables, or else the transaction tables also can do it.
It may be any database table. If the database table exists, we can retrieve the data using report definitions technically.
Okay.
Not like transaction, it like products, so it may be any database table.
Okay.
Because we are using every class is mapped to database table. So when you are working, I mean, we are creating report definition on one class, particular class. So if that
Okay.
class is mapped to database table, so the data will be retrieved from the corresponding table.
Okay. Whatever class is mapped as external data class mapping to, so
Yes.
we could retrieve the data with the help of the class from the database, right?
It may be external, it may be internal. It's not like only for external tables. Even for internal tables also, we can use report definitions.
Internal tables in the sense product table like
No, internal means Pega tables, Pega instead Pega related tables.
got it.
Pega product will
Mm-hmm.
be there, right? But it's the internal tables.
Mm-hmm. So most of the reports in the real time will be to generate the charts, those all things, or else can we go for list reports as well?
Most of the times we will use them for the sourcing purpose only. So for database, so we need to get the source from the report definition only. So for the list source. So mainly in that case, we will go for report. I mean 90% we'll use as a source for the database, and 10% as you said, yeah, for graphs, for displaying graphs kind of thing on the dashboards. On general on the
Mm.
dashboard, display some kind of dash. That is just 5% to 10%.
Okay. So whatever reports we are using from the report browser, those reports is there any way to integrate these reports with the workflows?
Workflows no. So just like either you can give as a source for the database, or you can directly embed in the sections to display that using chart control.
Okay. Why I'm asking to include in the workflows is suppose after completion of some other steps, so you have to generate the invoice, so you have to attach the PDF file after completion of that particular assignment step or else automatic.
Yeah, you can that you can do in the section, right? Where do you want to do that
Mm-hmm.
in the section? You can
Mm-hmm.
do that whatever you want to do.
Okay, using smart shapes. Huh?
Yes.
Okay, fine. And yeah, and user interfaces also I have one query actually. User interfaces, most of the user interfaces seems to be the navigation kind of thing here. So if you want to open any window pop-up, show the details and okay, select the data, is it possible in Pega?
Then navigation under
Suppose any user interfaces, from the user interface, if you want to select the lookup data from the window pop-up, so
window pop-up.
do we have any events or actions?
Window pop-up means I mean you are expecting like model window kind of thing, or menu.
Exactly.
So from the model window, then if you select anywhere, we can do that events we can configure. No? So for
Okay.
for every it may be any control for text box or dropdown for any control you can do the actions.
Mm, mm,
That's what we had in. I mean for the text we have seen that for the text box. Whenever you change the value, you are calling some swap service activity to refresh the cities list. In the survey discussing about integration, we discussed that.
yeah, yeah, I know actually. So that integration, what we are doing is when you select the country, we are populating as a
Yeah,
okay auto
that is
population values of states, right? Sorry,
correct.
cities, right? So instead of displaying the city, yeah. So my question is, so country data. So anyway, user will enter. Okay, once you move it to the city field, then we will give some button kind of thing that when user click on the button, some pop-up will open.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the data should be shown on the window pop-up.
Yeah, we
If
can do that. That is also fine.
I,
That is also.
yeah,
I
I hope
mean,
you might aware of JSP screens after so
the
4 years
world
ago,
of
5 years
JSP,
ago.
we can display the pop-ups, and then once the data is available, so it's not like here because we are on the same screen, so we are refreshing here. So when you click on button, you can call the whatever the activity you want to call, so that the data will be ready on the data on the clipboard. So then you can display on the screen using the pop-ups. It's all about, so by whatever you want to do, if you want to display the data should be available by the time in the clipboard. So for that, what you need to do, you need to think about it.
Okay. So is that best practice to show the window pop-ups in Pega?
Pega is not a best practice showing the pop-ups because pop-ups is not recommended in the mobile devices. So if you want to use the same application for a mobile version as well, so that is not recommended.
Oh.
Because pop-ups are not supported in many of the mobiles.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
So guardrail warnings are nothing but, I mean, for any technology, we need to follow some best practices. So when you violate some best practices, there should be some way to track it. So in Pega, so guardrail warnings are those for those purpose. So whenever you violate best practices, it will record an entry. So if you violate any best practice, you don't need to worry about it, which violations you did. So there is separate landing pages. First see the guardrail warnings, and here you can see what is the violation you made. So and then based on the severity, so there are severity types in Pega. I mean, a warning can be 3 types, like informational, moderate, and severe. So as the name indicate, informational means it's just like this kind of better to fix it. So it's not like it won't show much impact on the system, on the application. So it is better to fix it, but it's not like you should fix it, or you can say good to have. This one is better to fix it. So moderate means, so it's kind of a medium severity, so better to fix this one, and this one you should fix it. So this way we can call it. So whenever there is severe warning, you need to fix it. There is no other option for you before moving to production. So moderate means it's better to fix it, and information is good to have. So if you want to fix it, that is good. If you don't want to fix it, that is fine. But severe and moderate, so you need to fix it before moving to production, so that there won't be any issues on the application. So what type of issues the guardrail warning sees? Maybe any best practices. So for example, let's say I'm saying using activities is a violation. So using activities is also one type of guardrail warning. And then so keeping the flow rule in the draft mode. So as I said, if you remember, draft mode rules cannot be executed in production systems. So that is a violation. So even if you keep by mistake in the draft mode, system will intimate you, system will alert you, saying that so-and-so flows are in draft mode, so you need to fix that. And if you use using Java step in activities, Java method, I can say Java now, and using commit method in activities. So all these are common violations. And then sometimes what happens is here we are saying using the activities is a violation. But as we discussed, we need to have activities for some scenarios. So in that case, what we can do, if it is fixable, we need to fix that. Whatever the violation we did, we need to fix it. If it is not fixable, if some issue is not fixable, even if it is a best practice, we'll give the justification. Pega will provide that one. So if something is required, but even maybe we want to violate the best practice, but it's recommended, it's required for our application. In that case, you can give the justification why we need it. So there we have justification field for each and every warning. So you can see that. And to see all these things, we have a landing pages, and based on this, based on the number of violations you made in the activity. This is just like a list, you know, this is just for indication purpose. We have a lot of violations. You can see them in the landing page, or it will give full description what are the violations. So in the system based on the violations you made, system will give you scores. We call them that score as a compliance score. So let's go to the application. The compliance score is less than 90. So I mean, before moving to production, it's the best. If you are following best practices, we need to move. We need to get more than out of 100. We need to get more than 90% as a compliance score. Compliance score indicates how much. I mean, if you create 100 rules, for how many rules you are following best practices. System will give you, I mean, application system Pega will give you, I mean, a deviation of 10%, not like 20 to 30%. That is why 90% is required. You can violate up to 10%, but not like 30%, 20%. So if the compliance score is less, what happens is when you go to Pega for any help, so they won't help you. I mean, they won't what we call. The complaint score is less when you go for any help for Pega support team. So they simply reject it, saying that you are not following the best practices. The first thing they will check is your complaint score. Your complaint score should be more than 90, more than or equal to 90. Then only they will involve in helping in your application.
Subhash, compliance score will be generated against for each application, right?
Yes, for each application.
Okay.
So in two ways you can see the guardian warnings. First you can see on the home page. You can see home page for last 7 days. For last 7 days these are the violations. So you can see the view all warnings. This way you can go ahead. So as I said, you can see the warnings: severe, moderate, informational, how many introduced by you and how many introduced by your team. So for the entire team it will display, because here only one operator is there, so both are same here in this case. And if you click on this view all warnings, it will open a new landing page. This is called guardian warnings landing page. You can do like this, or else you can go to General Studio. Both are application, guardrails, you can see. So any tab you can go here. So both are same, both tabs are same. So in either way you can open it. So now if you see the first tab is complaint score. You can see the complaint score is 80%. That means that we've got only 80%. In the percentage you can see we are following up to 85% of the rules. If we get 100 rules, I mean we are following only for the 85% rules. 85 rules only are the best practices. We are the remaining 15% we are ignoring. So we need to fix that. And you can see that the application have total number of rules 612, and then out of that rules with warnings. So we have rules with 89 rules, and we have rules with 89 unjustified warnings. Okay, this is the number, and you can see last week, I mean week-wise details. I will export to PDF here. That is complaint score. So like complaints details, it will give you like I mean who introduced more. I mean different operators will be there. Who introduced the last, I mean the top 5 offenders. So I mean people will get to know who introducing more risk for the application. So we'll get top 5 offenders here, and when did we introduce more bugs, I mean more issues, more violations, like we'll display like this: fast 15 days, 30, 16, 30, 45, 60, last 2 months data will display here. Okay, what is the impact we are making? In which area we are getting the impact because of this one? Okay, and then warning summary. It will display the warnings, all the summary along with the categorization. So in each category rule, categorizing by the rule type, you can see section how many violations are there. For the flow, how many violations are. You can see one by one here. And warning, it will give a complete list summary. I mean list detail, complete list of warning violations. Okay, in this application. So either you can fix from here. If you want to fix from here, let's say this is severe warning saying data integrity And if it is something is related to your application rule set, then you need to fix it. Let's say if we go to warning summary, so if you see open the section, so all these sections are coming from the UI kit. UI kit is not ours. UI kit is Pega related only. They also have some violations. We don't need to worry about that. We need to worry about our application. We need to worry about our application. What we call application related rules only. So let's say a flow rule. So if you open this flow rule, you can see this all this are informational, and you can see flow in draft mode. So the violation is warning, similarity type is informational, and warning is flow in draft mode. You can see here. You can just mouse over, you can see that. So if you want to see that, you can open the rule, you can click on the rule, and on the rule form itself you can see, on the rule form itself you can see that in that rule that warnings as well. You can see this. So this record has one unreviewed warning. So this is the, whenever you see this kind of message, this is the guardrail warning. So on the rule form itself you can see that. So click on that, you can see the same warning. Functionality is informational. So this flow in draft mode. So this is a violation. So you can fix it. How can you fix it? You need to, whichever the fix we can do, draft off it. When you make draft off, so automatically when you save it again, it will be, the error message will be gone, the warning will be gone. So like that you need to fix all the things. Save it now. Get saved. Just refresh it once. Yeah, I see. Now the error message is gone. Here also, now it is 20. If you refresh it now once again, you will get to 19 only. You can say 19. That means one is done, one is fixed. Like that you need to fix for all the warnings. All this are flow in draft mode only, you can fix that. So if you go for other activities, so as I said, you are using verb save write is also a violation. Commit, we are using commit method is also a violation. For the demo activities we are using that. So let's go to demo activities. So let me comment that.
Without commit, how could we commit the records?
So automatically, whenever if you are calling this in the flow action, so for every flow action, internally system will call the commit methods. One commit method is enough to save all the data. So
okay, and the transaction will be committed.
Yes.
Okay.
So you don't need to call explicitly that one. So that is what Pega is saying. So you don't need to commit it again. So we will commit it anyway when you do submit, when you do commit.
Just they're expecting us to save it.
Yes.
That means with the help of OBJ save, right?
Yes, with using OBJ save only, we need to save it. Automatically system will taking care of committing that one. But in some scenarios, before submitting only, if you want to commit, obviously you need to go for commit method only.
Okay, then can we just justify and
yes.
Close the
Yeah, here save product info is there. So here, let's say we need this one. So you can give justification. So this is, we are saying OBJ right now is there. So here we can write justification. So we need this to persist immediately. So you can give this justification. So this is helpful for the code review. Whoever is doing the code review.
Okay.
Why you already can give this justification, and you can give for both here. You can use proper justification like this, and then click submit. Then you can save it. Now whenever you do the code review, they can also see these justifications like this. So if this is valid, they will accept it. If this is not valid, they will also give suggestions how we can correct it. Now if you refresh it here, now what are the justification we are doing right now here, like you can see, it will come here also. Okay, so like that you can use all the justifications, and then if you go to compliance score now, earlier it is 80, now it is, you can see 83, it increases 3%. Okay, and then you need to fix it. So the first score, when you come to this first time, it is 80 only. Now it is 83. Here it is 85. Now it is 86. Percentage wise, this is score. This is percentage.
What would be the Pega recommendation? Need to ensure 90% or
Yeah, 90%. That's why that is the recommendation.
90%. Okay.
So that's how you need to fix it. All the rules, either you need to fix it, or else you need to justify it. Then automatically you need to address all the rules. Here we have 89 rules are there. You need to address all the 89 rules related to your application rule set. If it is not related to your application rule set, you can ignore that. This UI kit you can ignore because these are application related. You can ignore them. Remaining you need to address it. Either you need to fix it or you need to for justification.
And Subhash, so are you suggesting daily development? So by EOD we have to check the compliance score and resolve all the
But that is, I mean, while creating
resolve
the
all the
rule,
comments, or what? So
not like
if,
you no need to come here every time, because while creating in the rule itself we can see these warnings. Whenever creating a new rule, so this message will be there on the rule itself. We can verify on the rule and we can take the actions on that way while creating the rule itself. That is a best practice. Even so, by mistake, if you miss, sometimes we will miss that. So before release, we will do that one. Not every day or every. I mean, we are following sprint iterations. So for every iteration or for before release, we will fix all the warnings once again. But best practice is you need to fix whenever you're creating the rule. So we're creating this rule. So whenever you're creating the rule, on the rule form itself, you will get the warnings like this. So you need to fix it by seeing this, or else you need to keep justification there itself. Okay. So let's say this is not required. So you can remove this one. Something like this you can do. If it's not required, so the count will be reduced. No, it is 84. Okay, like if you fix all these things, you'll go beyond 90 automatically. Okay. So that is about guardrail warnings. How we need to fix it, how we need to verify this one. So here, if you want to see all the things, you can expand it. You can see more details like flow action, pre-processing with bulk processing. This is not ours anyway. I think this is we cannot see that now. This is UI kit related. So something UI kit. See, this column is missing here. So better to go here only. So here you can see them. Okay, you can expand categories by, then you can use one by one. So these three are UI related, so you don't need to fix that one. So you can ignore them. Remaining things you either need to keep justification or else you need to fix that. So all these are activity use only. Then the report definitions, you can see all our application related only. Custom control option. That means that somewhere we are using custom controls on the filters. Let's open once. So what is a custom control means? So we are using some sorting. On the sorting, system will automatically apply the custom. So you can see sorting order is there. So when displaying the data, system will display this with using the sorting. So for sorting purpose, system is using some, you can see column format PGT key input. So you need to remove this one. That is the error they are saying. This is the column input they are saying. So we need to remove it. So you can see the early warning here also is coming. On the rule form itself, you can see the warnings. You need to fix that one. And then coming to harness, I think there is nothing here in application, and the other UI kit only. Flow action, everything is UI kit. Class, what is saying? Class instance, save to PR other. Okay. So we cannot do anything for that. Warranty type field value. So what it is saying? Field value 1 plus 2 year extension cannot have a consecutive spaces. Field values. Okay, this is something they're calling, instead of entering the text, I mean this is a plain text here, so the system is saying better to create the field value rule. So you can create the field value here. In the field value you can adjust, you can give some short code. So instead of here like this, you can give something like 1 plus 2-year extension, or extended, simply extended warranty or else you can give same thing here, 2-year extension, and there inside you can give the keep the description. This is just like a while rendering the screen system, here you can keep that same same description. What is the warning they are saying? Here you can keep it, and here this one you can specify it here. Like this you can specify. Instead of hard coding here, you can create one more rule, and while displaying, system will render this value only. This will translate from here to this one. That is what the error is saying. Now error will be gone, I guess. Let's save it. Error gone. Okay, either you need to fix all the rules somehow, anyway you need to fix them, and then you need to automatically your Guardrail score will be increased if you do for all. 84 still. Okay, that is about Guardrail warnings. Any doubts here?
Sure.
Yeah. So the next thing is, how can we deploy the code once the development is over? So we fix the Guardrail warnings and we did everything. How can we what we call? How can we take the code and how can we import it to other systems? If you refresh now, what is 2? Still there are 2 warnings, severe warnings here. You can see this is activity requires authentication. Let's open this. I can ignore this like this. This is one violation. Refresh the data. One violation still is there. So be save right now. You can ignore OBJ save for now. No, it's not required. Anyway, database will commit it. Yes. Now if you go to all warnings for now, you can see complaint score should be at least it is 86. So if you fix other warnings, automatically go beyond 90%. So now we can see how to take the code out. So for taking the code out, so you just need to run the tool. Already we have a lot of tools available, wizards are available, you just need to run that. So first we need to export it. We need to export the code. For exporting, we can do multiple ways. You can see, so go to application and then distribution, and then here you can see first we need to package the work. So you can see package. So you need to package it and then you need to export it. So it is 10-step process. So this is like instead of manual writing, system will automatically do things. So system will create the rule called product rule. So for import, for exporting, when you do package means if this is like a general word keeping all the rules in a, or whatever the code you have written, we are packaging that one. So this packaging wizard will create a product rule. So we call them product rule, or else we call them as a wrap. So the wrap is nothing but the name is given like this, rule admin product. Most of the time we call them as a wrap only, rule admin product, nothing but a product rule, or wrap, or nothing but a wrap rule admin product. Okay, we call them, system will create a product rule, so we can either take the code from here. So once product rule is generated, we can we can take the code from the product rule. So this will it will compile, it will group all the rules, and then it is I mean by category you can see first application, and then action, and then organization, access group. One by one it will do, this wizard will do compile all the things, and then it will package the work. So to store all this, we need to store the product rule. So it will be stored here, and click next. And you can see what is the application you want to package. So anyway, you cannot select the Pega rules, that is the product. So this is your application, and all will be selected. If anything is not required, you can unselect them. Application is fine, and then you can see organization data. What is Satyam, or your division, your unit, that is also fine, and then your access groups, that is also fine. And here you can see here operators. So if any operator is more than, if you have more operators than required, you can uncheck them. Generally, developer operators, I should uncheck them like this. So why we need to uncheck it? So developer operators should not be moved to production. Okay, so we need to make sure that developer operators are not moving to production. So whichever are not required, you can uncheck them like this, so that those operators will not be moved to production. Here we have, this is generic operators only, we are moving everything. And then work baskets, work groups, database tables, whatever system is created. So we have different database tables for address, category, product, and table, data type, everything is there. So click next, and then no jars are there. Database storage, like database tables for history, you can see for each one it's getting created, including history, everything is coming. So select it and click next. So this is some kind of integration resources, automatically everything is selected. So we don't need to remind this, so we don't need to select that one. So click finish. When you click finish, what system will do? System will create a product rule internally. So this wizard packaged your application as a product. So a system did all the things. Now you can verify its content, export it, and migrate it to another system. So preview, you can see the preview, what we have done. So you can see, you can just open it like this. To display rule set wise and total rules as well. So you can see total rules are 676 rules, and you can see the category wise, rule set wise. In STM rule set, how many are in STM int, how many rules are there? So you can verify all these things, and you can see the data instances as well. So we have some sample data. Some sample data is also coming. You can see. So this is a sample data. Sample data is also we are moving. This is like a local storage. Sample data means not from the database. This is application related sample. That is called local storage. Whichever you stored as a local storage as part of your application, that data also will be shipped. You can also verify it by clicking this one, what data it is. Okay, instance, you can see the ID, you can see here, and then you can see the database changes. You can expand it. You can see the database table for each class. So this class is mapped to this table. That means that we are creating the database tables as well. So all are coming here. This is system data. This is not our data, but this is application related data. So like organization unit, organization division. So you can see those data as well here.
Subhash, so sometimes data instances may not attach with the RAM.
Yes. So why we do it?
So what about the associated data rules? It's something concept to attach the data instance.
That is a good question. Basically, if you want to attach any data instance, just to open the instance. Let's say this is the data instance. So if you want to attach it, if you run this tool, automatically it will be attached. But manually, if you are writing, if you are doing something like, let's say, where is the operators? So this is the operators we have. Let's click on this admin. It's not open, right? So this is the operator ID is also a data. This is a data instance only. So you can see here rule set. So this operator is associated, this operator ID. So this data instance is associated with the STM rule set. So when you ship STM, automatically this entire data instance also will come. If you don't want to ship it, so you can just click edit and remove this one. That's it. No associated rule set. If you want to associate some data instance, you can just click on that and click the rule set. This will come automatically. That's how you can do association deassociation. Yeah, and then again, if you want to modify it, you can modify it. It will run from the starting and export it. If you want to export it, you can click on export. I can just give that file name. So my warranty code. You can give either zip code or a jar file. There are only two extensions is allowed, zip or jar. So click on OK to generate the code. So you can see it is. So production unlock rule set versions is saying the rule sets are not locked. So as a best practice, we need to lock each and everything. You need to lock each and everything so that before moving to production, we need to lock everything. So we need to click on that if you want to lock it, and you need to go here. You can see lock and save option is there. So you need to do all the thing. You need to lock each and everything. But during development, let's say if we want to move from development instance to testing instance, during that time generally we don't lock it. So we will unlock it and we will I'm giving some password. Submit. You need to give password.
So once you lock it, so can't we make any changes on that kind of version?
In this version you cannot do.
If you want to make changes, will you create a new version and
yes,
copy the
exactly.
and do it?
You need to unlock it. Either you need to unlock it or else you need to get new version. But as a best practice, once it moves to production environment, if you want to do any changes, or once the rule set is locked, as a best practice, you do not unlock it. You can get new version. Simply get new version, save the rules, do the modification on that version. Okay, like that you need to lock each and every rule set, and you need to take the.
Sorry, Subhash, I'm interrupting again. So new version means generally if you go and check out, automatically it will create new version, or else do you have to save as or something?
There you are saying, so once you create the new version, so you can, once you private edit, automatically if you check in, it will go for latest, the next unlocked version. So no need to save as.
Okay, system will take care about the version management, right? Similar to SVN and
it's based on the same rule set. Let's say if you open one rule from this STM, when the rule set is open in this rule set, it will be automatically checked in the latest version. But if you want to, from STM, if you want to save it to some other rule set, you need to save as.
Okay. That means framework rules, predefined rules, if you wanted to modify, then you have to attach or application and need to save as something.
Yes. You need to lock the rule sets like this, everything, and need to export it. So the other alternative way is without locking also you can do, so you can open the product rule. So this is the internal product rule that system generated. So this is product, rule admin product only. You can see here, this is the application, and this is the class instances included. This is the individual instances included, and you can see allow unlock the rule set versions as well. So if you click, this is a provision given for the product rule, so you can click on that. So without locking also you can take the code. Generally this will be useful from development environment to testing environment, not to production environment. So there generally we don't lock it every time. So we will be taking the code every day or 2 days. So every day we cannot lock the rule sets. So in that case we can check this box and then we create the product rule. Here my warranty app dot jar or zip, anything is fine. Let's say zip and click OK.
It should not generate the ER or WAR file, only zip and jar file only, the extensions.
Yes. Still saying we need to save it. We didn't save this one.
Okay. Pega may take care about this, so these jars may include into the Pega CR. Generally, we are asking this, so Pega product as a web application means they might have deployed ER or WAR, right?
Yes, that is Pega product. That is
Pega will take care.
Yeah, no. Pega product is a WAR file, but whatever the applications you are generating, maybe you are creating on top of Pega, that thing you should be either zip file or jar file only. Pega will be deployed as either WAR file or ER files. You can do based on the server. If you are using IBM, actually you can go for WAR files. If you are using generally based on the application server. If you use application server, generally we deploy ER files. If you are doing the Tomcat web servers, you can go for WAR deployment. So
where is that WAR? Yeah, can we check it out?
That is installed in your local system, right? Wherever you install, you can see that.
In the web apps folder, we can go and check it out.
That's what we will see. There only. That is called WAR deployment. Tomcat is running web apps. You can see here. Not this one. Tomcat. You can see web apps.
So these all setups will be taken care by the admin, right?
Yes. So while installing only this will be done. So this is for installation, installing the Pega product. Now this is done. So we have exported the code. Now we can save it into our local system. So now local system it is saving into my local system, my warranty app.jar. So now we need to export it. So we exported it. Now we need to import it. So for importing also it's very simple. So you can either generate the wizard from this. You can export from export. But if you do export from here, but make sure that you need to lock everything. So alternative solution is you can go open the product rule and you can uncheck this checkbox and then create the product rule. You can also preview it here from here as well. This is same as previewing from there. Same thing will be displayed here. And then if you want to migrate, sometimes what happens is if you want to move the code from this system to multiple systems, so automatically. So in that case you can click on migrate. When you do migration, you just enter the target system. So system will automatically install this product rule automatically in other systems. Product is this one, version is this one. So you can see you can give the you can use existing tips. You can use if you want to connect to other systems. Let's say development is there, 3 testing environment is there. So from development environment you want to move to testing environments, all the code. So you can give that testing environment details again. What is the host name? What is the port number? What is the context root? Everything, and then you can whatever the code we generated here, this will be installed in all the testing instances automatically. You don't need to manual intervention. So if you want to manually import it, you can do like this. If you want to automatically import everything in the testing environments, so this is used if you want to import the same code in multiple systems. You can connect to multiple systems and you can just click next. But we don't have any systems. Generally, if you go to next system, so this will come like this, and then you need to finish it. So automatically, so in this system, automatically the product rule will be migrated, will be installed. But if you want to do that manual, so this is just like automating that importing process. If you want to do it manually in the other systems, you can go to the testing environment like this, Visual Studio. Anyway, there also you install the Pega product and then go to application and go to distribution, then go to import. Simple. This is like manually importing the things. And then select the file, whichever you selected, whichever you created just now. My warranty app, select it, click open, and click next.
So our production systems might be cluster nodes, right? So real time, are we using the migration option?
It may be cluster, it may be anything. Even cluster also will be mentioning several servers. So every node will be there, and on each node you need to deploy the code.
So that case, if you go for the migration, it will be easy.
Yes, if we go for migration, that will be easy.
You could mention all the server names or path names, right? Then
correct. You can say in the cluster environment, you can mention all the server, all the nodes, and then automatically that will be imported. And you can see before importing also you can check this whether it's correct or not, and you can click next. So here in this, because I am exporting and importing in the same system, So nothing will be installed, everything will be skipped. So if you install the same thing in your fresh instance where this application is not available, then everything will be installed. Now you can see only one record is moved and remaining rings are skipped because all the rules are present. The research system is not importing the rules. Okay, this is how you can do. So here you will get not like this. You will get this number here. All number will come here so that all things will be installed. This is how you need to do importing and exporting. Okay. So any doubts here?
No, Subhash.
Yeah. So the next thing is how can we document it? So we have a documentation tool for that also. We don't need to write a single document, but that documentation tool will work only in IE. It won't work in Chrome. So in 7.1.8 at least. If you are using 7.2, so there that dependency is removed. So in Chrome also that tool will work. So I'm going to IE for now. Sorry, it's doing the same thing.
Subhash, if we do small enhancements, small bug fixes, then we'll go for the export option.
In that case, if you do some small changes, you can directly manually create the product rule. So no need to go to that much level. So you can manually create the product rule, and then whichever the version you want to. So generally we do fixes in the rule sets only, right? You can just export that version. You can set rule sets to include.
Only particular rule set.
Yes, particular rule set version. You can see minimum version, maximum version. You can give the version number here. So only that particular rule set version will come. No need to give all these things. So if you want to generate the document, go to Design Studio again and go to application and go to tools, and then document is there. So for all things we have tools, we don't need to do any manual tasks here. We just need to, once the document is generated, you need to verify it. And on top of that, if you want to do any modifications, you can do that. So you can see here what type of document you want to do. You can select it here. What is the application? What type of document you need? And whether you need high level or low level. So I want full application. So select full application document. And whichever the things you want, we have a lot of configurations here, like which rule sets you want to select, which case types. The different options here. So different cases, and cases with different types of rules. So whichever you want to export to the document, you can select it. We have a lot of configurations here. You select this. You can select it here. Everything will be selected by default. But if something you don't require to export to document, you can ignore. You can unselect that one. And once you do the configuration changes, you just click on document now, and automatically the document will be done. So based on the size of your application, so here we have only 600 rows. Maybe it will take only 1 or 2 minutes to generate the document. But if it is an enterprise application, it will take hours. So generally better to run this one in the late hours when the users are not using much. So it will take half an hour to 1 hour for the enterprise applications to build that documentation. But it will take more than 1 hour sometimes. So more than 1,000 pages also sometimes will be generated. But here we have only 600 rules. It may take 1 or 2 minutes, and it will generate the document. Once the document is generated, it will give you the file link to save that file into your local system, and then you can see that.
Why do we require documentation?
So
This
this is
kind
for
of
newcomers only. Let's say if you want to explain about your application to newcomers who is joining your project. So there should be some ways we can give this documentation so that he can get some idea what is happening inside this, what type of rules we are using, how we are. It will display all the things like including your case types, including your flow actions, flows, everything will be included in this. This is for the newcomers who want to know application. Is completed. You can click on this. Just will click on this, automatically it will be open, or you can just I'm opening, I'm not saving. Or the Word document will be opened.
that means we have wanted to design any technical documentation.
Then generally we do full application only. I mean, we have two types of, we can do high level documentation, full application documentation, and then specification documentation. So if you want to get only specifications, we creating specifications, right? So you want to get only specifications, you can do specification document, or high level means only certain rules will be documented. Full level means all the things. Full application means including property rules also it will be documented. It's taking too much time.
Subhash, I'm asking a question. There is no need to develop very technical design documents in this Pega.
Technical design means, I mean, before developing you are saying? After development.
After development.
After development, where do we need to design documents? Generally, design we go for before construction only, right?
No, generally we will develop low-level design documentation also, right? What methods we use, what is the purposes.
Yeah,
after development also.
Design means before construction only we do that. That is called design document. So when I say design document, it is before development only. So what we are going to do? It's called design document. Once the development is over, we will just implement the design document. Whatever you did in the design, we will just implement that one.
Okay. So who will develop that high-level design documents in Pega? Let's say.
I mean, I think design documents are not related to any technology. You can, I mean, any methodology will, the design documents will be there. And generally you can do, I mean, senior architect may be there. I mean, senior developers may develop it, or lead may develop it. Who have technical knowledge on that.
Okay.
It's taking very long time here. Just close this. So it's already opened. Okay, so this is a document that is developed. You can see application document. You can see the application document for application name, version, or for application description, who created it, when created it, and you can also see this contents are coming. It's like full application. Most of the time you don't need to do any modifications. It's full-fledged application will be generated. If any spelling mistakes are there, you can do that one. That is why you need to give proper description for each and every rule. So in the history tab, if you give proper description and usage, that will come here. Okay, you need to give proper objectives, proper description. Then it will come here. You can see case types. What type of case types you have. What is the prefix you are using? What is the starting process? Everything is documented like this. What is the rule sets? And what is the you can see stages as well. So if you give this to newcomers who will join your project, they will easily get. So what are the stages we have? In each stage what you are doing, you can see flow diagrams are also coming. You just need to go through all these things. It will give you a clear idea, clear picture of your application.
It's a detailed document generated, right?
Yes, it's a full application document, including your you give proper description, why we are using it, everything will be documented here. So including properties.
Okay.
Okay. And then this document you can give it to your, you can keep it somewhere, and you have somebody who joins the application, your team, you can share this information to them. So for that purpose we do the documentation. Okay. So any doubts here?
No, sure.
Okay. So that's it about documentation.
Okay.
I think I hope we covered all the topics which we said in the course. Nothing pending, you see?
Yeah. Most of them we covered, I think so.
Yeah.
Tickets
So
also we covered, right? Did we cover
yes?
ticket? Ticketing, did we cover?
So ticket concept is not there in 7. In Pega 7 we don't use ticket. That is why we go for alternate stages. So we have alternate stages in the cases, right?
In the CSS they are explaining tickets also.
Yeah, tickets they are there, but that is deprecated concept. We should not use it for business exceptions. So here we have the same thing we can achieve using the alternate stages.
Right.
Okay. The concept is there. That should be a technology barring it's there, but it's not used in Pega 7 mostly.
Subhash, one more question. Suppose what is it? If you want to create any background processes, so you said one rule set is required to create the agent, right?
Correct.
So if you want to create any more, so 2 to 3 agents, so to processing the
there I said right, you can add any number of entries. In the rule set you can add any number of entries.
Okay. One rule set should contain only one agent?
Yes, yes. Even if you see existing rule sets, out of the box rule sets also, you can see that way. So that is the concept for agent. So if you open Pega Procom, so one rule set, one agent is there. So it's not repeating anywhere.
Okay. Can you show me one check-in, check-out process? Suppose existing rule, if you take existing rule, how to open
check-in, check-out if you want to see. So what you first you need to enable the check-in, check-out process. So let's open the rule set. So check-in, check-out is not enabled by default because this is a personal edition. It is not enabled by default. But if you are running enterprise editions, automatically that feature will be automatically enabled. So if you want to enable that check-in, check-out functionality, open the rule set, something like this. Maybe any rule set and click on security. Security, you can see use checkout. So this option is disabled here. So you need to click this box to enable the checkout check-in functionality. So if it is a multi-developer environment, you need to enable it. If it is a single developer environment, you need to checkout check-in is not required. So now if you open any rule going forward, then you will get checkout button. So let me open one rule here. This is the property. So let's say this propellant category is the property is there. So I want to do some modifications. So you can see checkout. If you want to do modification, you have to check out first. So check out it, Checkout means we are taking the control of that rule. So you are modifying, we are locking the rule for the modifications, and then whatever the modifications you want to do, so just do that one, and then do the changes, save the changes, and if you want to persist the changes, so whatever the changes, I mean if you don't persist to check in, it will, I mean until you check in, it will be in your personal rule set. So what is the personal rule set? Means personal rule set is something, so where all the developer rules, I mean whenever you check out, those rules will be stored in the personal rule set. Until you check in, so all the rules will be there in the personal rule set that you cannot see it, I mean physically, but system internally will maintain that. So if you want to see that, to just confirm that, you can go to profile. In the stack, this is the runtime stack basically, that is the application stack, this is the runtime stack of the user. So you can see this is your personal rule set. So personal rule set name is itself your operator ID itself, it will take the same operator ID as a rule set name. So this is your personal rule set. So whenever you check out, the rules will be stored here until you check in. So because this is on the top of the stack, even when you execute your case, it will take from your personal rule set only, because it is always on the top of the stack, so you can see your changes. But if you run the same application from some other user, they cannot see your changes because their personal rule set will be different. So they cannot see your change. That is how system is maintaining integrity of among the users. So your changes cannot be seen by others. Other changes you cannot, I mean others also, I mean you cannot see other changes as well. So until you check in. So once you check in, it will become persist, it will be permanent. So anybody can see that. So until you check in, whatever the modifications you are doing, it will be in your personal rule set. Once you check in, it will be saved into your, this rule set. So anybody, so because this is now the database record, so it will be stored in the database, so anybody can see your changes now. That is how we can.
When you check out and check in, so automatically the version also will get incremented?
No, version will incremented. So this is same rule set version, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not locked, because this is not locked, that is why system is,
okay. If suppose if it's locked?
If it's locked, you cannot check out it basically. Let's say if you lock it, this one, let's say if this is you lock it, this one.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot lock once it is checked out. Let's say let me discard it. If you want to discard your changes, remove your changes, you can discard it.
Mm-hmm.
So once you lock it, if you open it, you will get a private edit option. You won't get this is locked. Now if you refresh it now, you can see you are not getting private edit. So you are not getting checkout button. You are getting private different option here. That means that you cannot edit it directly. So you can do private edit. That means you can do changes, but cannot be persisted. So if you want to persist it, there are two options. Either you need to unlock it, or else you need to check in into a new version. So when you check in, it will say no unlocked version is there. It's checking for same rule set, but no unlocked version is there. So we can create a new version here that automatically will be coming here. Okay, that's how you need to do.
Where we have to create a new version?
In the rule sets, create new version.
Okay.
First of this is right. Then when you check in now, that will come here. You need to save that one.
Okay.
Now when you check in, event is 00101, now it's coming 010102 because that is unlocked right now. Click OK. Something you can do like this.
Okay. If same rules set multiple teams wanted to work on, then we go for the branches.
Yeah, branching generally it's not like that is very rare case. If it is very big team, and then even multiple teams are working, generally we don't go for branching. It's again headache tasks. So we need to merge it and we need to see the merge conflict, everything is there. So most of the time, 90% we don't do branching, but if it is a very big project and multiple teams are working on multiple enhancements, then you can go for branching.
If suppose same case or same stage, multiple teams are working, then
that's not a problem, right? So because whenever you do modifications, others cannot do the changes because they will get a lock exception. So if you are doing one rule, one modification, one rule, so others cannot do the changes.
Yeah, that's true. parallelly, if you wanted to do parallel development.
Yeah, then you can go for branching.
Yeah, what next is of, yeah, I'm also thinking it's almost week covered.
Yeah,
I'll
so
go
what we
through
can
that.
do is you can take 1 week buffer time. So just practice whatever we discussed. And if you find any issues in implementation, so you can ask Ashok to schedule one more meeting. On that day, there won't be any explanation. So just we'll discuss about your doubts. So you need to show your system wherever you are facing, wherever you are stuck, basically. So we will directly work on that. That's how we proceed. So already you have a job anyway, so that's fine. You don't search for anything, right?
Yeah, right now, no.
Yeah, that's fine then. Thank you for joining us for the.
Not 1 week, Subhash. I need 2 weeks time because I'm
Yeah,
going
not a
to
problem. You can take
location.
not like 1 week, just like there's a buffer. You can
2
take
week
1 week.
or 3 weeks. Yeah, once I started actually, so in my personal direction also.
Okay,
So
once
I
everything is,
started.
let us know
If,
one day.
if I get any doubts, I'll drop an email. And so
Sure,
if it's
sure.
not resolved over the email, then we'll have a session.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, then
So
thank you
yeah,
once again
thank you
for
so
joining
much.
us. And from tomorrow onwards, there won't be any class for you. I will share the final notes with you, so you can keep that
Yeah,
and
do that.
please download that one. Otherwise, I will delete it from the server, so you cannot get it either again. Okay,
I'll
that's
download it and upload it to my Google Drive.
okay then. So I will
Thanks.
share it. And you can do that one.
Thanks, Subhash. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah,
Best.
thank you.
Snehal and Siva and Balakrishna, can you please join again? I am ending the meeting right now.